Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am wearing my apron, so this means I'm going to be doing a cooking video. At the same time, someone in the comments, Taraji Nicole, said that she wants a fraction video for her cousin. So shout out to Taraji because today I'm doing a cooking / fraction video. So I'm going to be explaining fractions, the basics, and I will be doing how to make basic cupcakes with strawberry frosting. And if you can, please subscribe to this video. And yeah, so let's get started.
Before we get started, please ask your parents for help to do this recipe because they're going to be handling the oven. So you might have to want to get some parent help.
Unless you're a professional and you know how to bake this because you've had a lot of experience. Anyways, let's get started on explaining fractions. So, you might be wondering what fractions are. Well, fractions are pretty much parts of a whole. Like with this butter here. This butter is one whole. But if I have my table knife and I cut it in half, wait, not exactly half, but you know what I mean. If I cut in half, one part of the butter will be 1/2 of the whole, and the other part of the butter will be 1/2 of the whole. Together, they equal one whole. But,
That's sweet.
So, you can make different types of parts of a whole. You can do it with butter, eggs, shoes, paper towels, anything. Well, I'll give you another explanation, another example on fractions. So, let me show you a fourth with my butter stick. It's not the best fourth, but you get me. Okay, if you can see, the lines in the butter are 1/4 each. If I used 1/4 of the butter for my recipe, then that would be 1/4 of the butter I've been using. And the rest of the butter left over would be 3/4 of the butter. 3/4 of the butter left over and 1/4 I use.
1/4 equals 1 divided by 4. And 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. 25 out of 100. So 1/4 equals 25 out of 100.
Also, 25 times 4, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, 25 times. And basically, fractions are mostly everywhere. You can make fractions out of mostly anything. Like I said before. Shoes, binders, mandarins. I really don't know what you can make fractions out of, but just go out there and experiment what you can make fractions out of. You can do anything. Just make sure you get your parents' permission first, because don't draw on the walls. It's not
The best idea.
the best idea. Okay, now let's get started on the cooking part. I already did the first few parts of it, but we need 4 eggs. And let me make a fraction out of this. Just because it's one thing, like my butter here, just because it's one thing doesn't mean that 4 things can be a fraction too. 4 eggs can be a fraction. I can use 1/4 of my 4 eggs to make a small cookie.
Or something. I really don't know.
So I can use 2/4 of my 4 eggs to make something creative out of my eggs.
2/4 equals 1/2.
And 1/2 is an equivalent fraction of 2/4.
And 2/4 and 1/2 equals 0.5. 5 out of 10.
And 5 out of 10 is also a half of a half. Of a half of a half.
And so it's 50 out of 100 and 500 out of 1,000. And
Okay,
5,000
thank you. Let's get our baking together. Well, as you can see here, I've already mixed up my eggs. In this very bowl, there are 4 eggs. 4 eggs feeds 12 cupcakes. And 2 teaspoons of sugar.
For now.
If it doesn't taste very good after you put the sugar and everything else, the rest of everything. You can taste it. Make sure you don't taste it with the raw eggs. The flour can dilute the eggs, so it's a good idea to wait till your flour and everything is on top of it before you taste, okay? So keep this in mind. Also, I have another fraction example to explain with you. As you see, my Betty Crocker teaspoon set is so beautiful, red, I love it, is 1 teaspoon right here. I don't know if you can see that. That's 1 teaspoon, and this is 1 teaspoon. Remember this. And this is 1/4 of a teaspoon right here. Right here is a fraction. I explained that to you with the butter.
1/4 equals 2/8, but I don't know if we have. Do you have 1/8 on that thing?
No, we only have 1/4 and a half. But here's something you should know. If you took this and split it into fourths, you would very possibly have this little guy here as your example, is your what you took out. 1/2 of the teaspoon is 1/2 of your whole. Your whole is your teaspoon. 1/4 of a teaspoon.
And no, she's not talking about the hole you dig in the ground in your backyard.
Okay, 1/4 of a teaspoon is 1 of the 4 parts in the whole. The whole is the whole teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. This is 1/4 of a whole 1 teaspoon. Get me? Yeah? With me?
I get you now.
Yeah, come on now. So, next, we have my already melted butter. Wow, it's in my mug here. You can't see it, but it's like, my butter is 1/8 of this thing. So if I took my butter, already cut in fourths, I would cut it in eighths, and that's how much butter I used for this. Not the perfect eighths. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. Don't yell at me, but not the perfect eighths, but I used 1/8 of these butter. I used 1/8 of this butter. Now my butter is still in my mug, nice and warm. Then I put it inside my batter. And you just make sure you get all of it. You can use your finger to scrape it out too.
Or a spatula if you really don't like getting your fingers dirty.
Like someone I know. Then you get your pretty whisk and you mix up it very well. And ta-da, your butter and sugar and egg mixture. You cannot eat it. Please do not eat raw eggs. It is not good for you at all.
Oh, don't forget the baking powder and the flour.
Well, we're not onto that yet. I would like to give another example of fractions.
Excuse me, when will this video end? Excuse me, when will this video end?
How rude. It might just be lasting infinity years. You might never know. But anyways, I have another example of fractions, but it's actually in a whole broken up to fraction to be a whole. You know, wait, let me get it. I got what I'm going to explain fractions with you. Cupcake liners. I'm going to use 5 of these cupcake liners to explain to you.
And don't forget the cupcake pans.
You don't need that yet. Away! So I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these cupcake liners to explain to you a little bit more about fractions. In my very hand, there are 5 red cupcake liners. They are cupcake liners. And they are part of a fraction. Yes, they're part of a whole, which is a fraction, if you're talking about fractions in math. But they are part of a whole. Right here is a whole. But right here is 1/5 of that whole. There are 5 cupcake liners. And this is 1/5 that I will use to make one precious little cupcake. Not really, but I'm going to use 12. But yeah. So my 5 cupcake liners are part of a whole. The whole is this. Now, if I'm going to use 2 of our cupcake liners, and I'm going to use them, and they're going to go off to cupcake liner land, you know. I'm going to use them, and this is 2/5 of 1 5/5. 2/5 of 5/5. 5/5 is also equivalent to a whole, and a whole like 1, and it's also equivalent to 2 halves and 4 quarters, and you get what I mean. Right here is 2/5 of a cupcake liner party hole thingy.
Which would be 4 times 2.
Yes. We don't need the complicated stuff. But if I take 3 of my cupcake liners, what is the fraction of the cupcake liners I am taking away? 3/5, right? Is that what you got? Well, if I have one fraction of the fraction of the cupcake liners that I'm taking away is 3/5, and this is 2/5. And that's all I have to explain to you today. Now let's get to the rest of the cooking. Yes, to the rest of the cooking. I just finished putting my cupcake liners in here. So I have a fraction for you here. I'm gonna see. This is a whole of a cupcake tin. So this is 12. I want you to tell me a fraction of how many cupcakes liners are red. I'll move these for you to see that they're red or not. So let's talk it over. So the number of cupcake liners here that are red are 3 out of 12, which is 3/12 of red cupcake liners. There's also 3/12 of blue cupcake liners, and I don't think so. 6/12 of party cupcake liners in one.
Aren't they all party cupcake liners in some way or another?
Some way. Okay, now let's get onto the pouring. Let's get onto the pouring. Okay, after you are done mixing.
Hey, Shekhinah, did you taste it to make sure it doesn't have sugar?
I already know. So basically, I know that this is not very sugary. If you don't like very much sugar, 1 teaspoon of sugar is great enough for you. But I need to add more sugar to mine. I'm adding 3 more tablespoons of sugar, and then beating it really hard. Still beating. Okay, now it's all done. Then you just let this thingy hang. Then you can taste it. Okay, now we got our batter, and we are going to put this into the cupcake tins. Okay, we're gonna get onto the cooking. Cook our cupcakes. So first off, we have our mixture of eggs, butter, and sugar. And this here is 1/3 of a cup of flour.
Excuse the pieces of flour on top of it because we use it a lot.
Yeah, excuse that. But yeah. This is 1/3 of a cup.
Don't forget your spatula.
1/3 is a fraction of a whole. So we are going to take a big scoop of it, but then shave it off with your finger, and then get it again, and then so it looks.
If you want it to be exact, you should shave it off with your finger.
So here we
So
have.
mix it up after every cup.
After 1 cup, 1/3 of a cup, you mix it. It will possibly get all over you, but that's life. Then you have to beat it a little. See here, I'm beating it until the flour dots get all away. I don't know if you can see this, but it's so hard.
what do you do when it's too liquidy?
Well, next, let's add another third of our flour into our mixture of cupcakes, soon to be cupcakes. Now we mix again. Okay, now it's a little thick and it looks like we need more dough, which means we have to add another eighth of butter. Eighth of butter is 1 part of a fraction. So we get our knife.
And 1/8 equals 0.125 in case you were wondering.
So we get our beautiful eighth of butter, which is 1 part of an eighth whole. We scoop it inside our butter thingy, and we microwave it.
Would you love butter?
It's butter.
And then you're gonna put it in the microwave
For about 1 minute and 30 seconds.
as long as it takes for it to be completely melted.
Yes, which is about 1 minute and 30 seconds. While we're waiting, I'm going to get another egg and I'm going to put it in my batter. So, let me go get an egg. Egg. Got it. After you get an egg and put it in your batter, you have to cover it up. Whoa, what was that? We have to cover it up with a little more flour, so cover it up with another third of your flour. Remember, a third is a part of a fraction. Okay. Really heated. So this is how it should look like when you are done pouring it all in. Yeah. So next we have to get some baking powder, and we know our baking powder is known to hide. So I have my my German baking powder right here. It is a baking powder. It's 15 grams, in case you were wondering. But if you are actually going to use baking powder from a can, that means you have to get about maybe 1 teaspoon, occasionally 1 teaspoon. And here is how baking powder from a can looks like. So we would use 1 teaspoon of baking powder inside our cupcakes, you know? So I'm just gonna use the whole pack of this because it's about 1 teaspoon, so let's just dap it in there now. Now we mix okay, we're all good with this. The next thing we need to do is, if it's a little too thick, you can add a little drop of water, but make sure you dilute it with a little more flour on top. It'll make it gradually easier for you to mix it up. Now, next we have to add a little more sugar. Now,
add your butter.
Also, now that everything is in, you can taste it a little, and don't eat too much of it. If you take 1 spoon of this is not, it's not food. So you're gonna make it into a food, but it's just not food. So next, I'm going to put the cupcake liners into the cupcake tin. So let's do that now. Okay, while our cupcakes are cooking, we are going to start out with the strawberry icing. It doesn't have to be strawberry. I got this recipe of icing and I decided to add my strawberries to it, my favorite fruit. So you can add blueberries, cinnamon, I really don't care, but this is just plain basic icing with no flavor at all, except for sugar.
Can you please pass the strawberries? I think I'm gonna cut them. Then give it to you. You can
I
blend.
thought we were gonna. Oh yeah. Okay, first thing, you need powdered sugar. I really don't have any powdered sugar, so you can just take granulated sugar and blend it. Put it in a food processor and blend it. So let's blend. This is gonna take a while, but I'm just gonna be mixing here, and my sister's gonna be helping me chop the strawberries and blend them all together so it can be a lovely strawberry mix of deliciousness. Okay, so I'll be mixing and you'll just figure out what the next recipe is and more fractions mixed in. Hey, so I just finished mixing up my powdered sugar and I put it in my bowl with 1/8 of butter. Remember, 1/8 is 1 part of 1 whole. And I am going to be using my mixer, my buzzer beater mixer thingy, and turning it to the lowest thing and putting it in here. And let's do it. I just can't seem to do this. Okay, this is just a little overwhelming for me, so I think I'll just demonstrate how this is going to be like if you put this on low heat, okay?
Thinking you have to put your strawberry thing.
Okay, but I have to put the milk.
There's already milk in here, right?
Yeah, but there's milk in it. Okay, I'm back from finishing the icing. Well, I already mixed. Okay, as you know, you got to get that powdered sugar. If you don't have your powdered sugar, well, get your food processor and mix it until it's like a fine powder. Then you get some, a little bit of milk and a little 1/8 of your whole of butter and mix it all together with a beater and add more milk until it gradually softens. For me, it kind of backflopped because I was trying to make a strawberry one, but I think it turned out really good. So instead of doing more of the what's it called, powdered sugar, I decided to put a little flour in it, and it turns out it makes it look very creamy and delicious. It looks a lot like buttercream, and I just like how it turned out, and it tastes delicious. So yes, that is bonus point for me. Woohoo! Now I think I need to go check on the cupcakes right now. They're still in there cooking. But how to check on your cupcakes? You gotta get your knife, your nice knife, or like a table knife, a normal table knife. Like I just gotta shine it a bit. Now it's nice and clean. Then you take your knife and stick it into one of the cupcakes. If the knife comes out clean, then that means that cupcake is ready. Or the cupcake's are ready. So
If it does not,
be very careful when you stick your hand inside the oven. It could hurt you a lot. Wait. Okay, so the oven's here. You stick your knife in. Keep your hand as far away as possible. Stick it all the way in and take it out. These guys need a little more time. Yeah, maybe 5 more minutes. And the approximate time for these guys to cook are
35 minutes.
35 minutes. They've been cooking for like 30 minutes now, but we need an extra 5 minutes just to make sure that they're nice and brown and lovely and delicious and cooked. So you can make sure that they're good. Okay. So our cupcakes just got out of the oven and they're so nice and lovely, and I am going to eat the whole fraction of these cupcakes right now, but I might share them with my family and with our icing. You know what? I think I just don't want to sit around waiting for them to cool down, so I'll just put them in the refrigerator. Okay, I'm not the best icer, so the only thing I do is plop like big spoons of icing on top of the cupcakes. If you know how to ice, if you know how to ice, you can ice it the way you like to do it. But the last thing I have to say is subscribe to my video and comment for more fun and excitement and paparazzi. So just subscribe and leave a comment so I have some ideas on what the next video should be about. Goodbye!
Please remember to ask questions because we like to answer questions.
Questions are always very good for us to like help you learn, and we just hope you stay safe and goodbye!